Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Just Women Talking Shit with your host, Jacqueline Cotton.
And we all think you have to make big statements and make big things you don't need to get on a Greenpeace ship and sail to the Arctic to save a whale, which could be fabulous to do that. But you can support the notion that we don't need so much plastic because it's polluting the ocean. Just for us, like all of Natracare pads are compostable, and our pant liners they're certified compostable. And we went through a lot of science and testing with an external agency to prove that. But we know that, in a year, for the amount of products that we sold, that in a whole year of just, if you were just buying Natracare products and using Natracare products, you prevented what is effectively plastic the size of a blue whale going into our marine environments.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Just Women Talking Shit with your host, Jacqueline Cotton.
So I was reading up on you before we hopped on, and I feel like I'm in front of a legend. I have to hear all the things.
Oh my God.
Can you introduce yourself and tell us about your company? I know you're a founder of a big company, and you just mentioned maybe some big things are happening. I don't know, but I can't wait to hear all about it.
Yeah. So I'm Susie Hewson. I'm the founder of Natracare, and that started way back in 1989, which was a campaign that I initiated to raise awareness and bring about change in the use of toxic chemicals and synthetics and plastics in feminine hygiene products. And in order to do that, in order to design those products, I had to create a company, because prior to that, I'd been all sorts of things. I trained as a graphic designer, and I did postgrad in education so I could teach. I also was a fitness instructor for 17 years. And I had 2 young children, both of them under 3. So I just suddenly thought I had this big idea that I was going to make a difference by making industry change their minds about how they produce things, and when they didn't, that was where I was going to step in. I was going to design my own products, and so that was the idea. And it came to me in the after a TV program that I'd watched about the use of chlorine bleaching in the industry, all paper products that left contamination in our environment of dioxins, which is carcinogen, and also remains in the products. But this is also at the same time, around this time, that toxic shock syndrome was hitting the world. So there were lots of things that I was campaigning to raise awareness of. And there's that moment where you decide, well, if no one's going to do anything about it, then I'll have to do something about it. So that was the beginning. And the formation of the company, and actually this is my home. I work in an office not too far away from here, where our logistics and all my staff are in the UK, and in the US we're in Colorado and in Ontario. But I was in this office for 10 years on my own, believe it or not, and working for nothing effectively. So everything that came from the company was put back into the company. So this is like I only returned to this state of being in this office during COVID. And I sort of thought, everyone's working from home, and it was a big stretch for me. And I thought, well, actually, I feel quite comfortable. I've done this before. I was ahead of my time. I was working from home a long time when it wasn't the thing to do. So it just felt, I'm just back in my clear space. So, and we're not a huge company. We're classified as an SME. There are only 22 of us in the UK. There's in North America, there's 6 or 7. So we are relatively a powerhouse of women and a few men.
I love all this so much. First off, You just made me feel like a baby. You said you started this in 1989. That's when I was born.
Yeah, you probably weren't even born then, probably 1989, and it was 1909, I think it was 1995 or 96 when we eventually got on to access to an internet site. We could dial up. We designed our websites, and most of the people that we were communicating with were mostly men in research positions in universities and research places, because they were the only others who could were at the end of the internet, I guess. But they helped to spread the word amazingly, and that was kind of, you know, 6 years or more of working outside of any kind. I mean, it was libraries and telephones. There were no faxes. We didn't have a printer. They weren't home use printers. So the world was different. But you know, those problems still need to be resolved. So I guess it's a lesson that you don't need big tech around you to solve a problem. You need resolution to do it, and you know, the sort of energy and wherewithal to find where your assets are, where your resources are, and just keep throwing yourself at it until you bring about change.
100%. I mean, I know I'm like I feel like I'm still very new on the entrepreneur journey, but I feel like you were an entrepreneur way before it was cool. Like everybody wants to be an entrepreneur now, right? Like they have no idea
Yeah.
the actual blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. And it's the
Mhm.
most expensive hobby ever. like you were saying, you didn't
It's
pay
not a good
yourself.
lifestyle choice usually, is it? If you're on a wellness scale, you'd say, well, it's not a good wellness. Is that a lifestyle choice I would choose? Yeah, it is. You know, someone says that you can't choose to be an entrepreneur. Someone tells you you're an entrepreneur. Those who think, you know, those who are doing it are just plowing ahead on our route to where we aim to be, and hopefully avoiding all the sort of you know, pitfalls and trip hazards that go along the way on that journey, and learning from it, and
I was
hopefully
gonna say,
passing that knowledge on.
you said hopefully. That's the word, y'all. Hopefully, because I can't even tell you. You know, like you will come in contact with the most wild situations, and it'll test you, and like there's morals, there's integrity, like it is an entire spiritual experience in a way.
It
I'm curious.
is, and
I'm
like you
curious.
said, it is a journey that you can be. You know, that's where our integrity and our morals and our objectives and obligations to nature and to women's health is that's our steering path. That we've never changed from that. We've never been, you know, we've never been tempted off that straight and narrow, because the objective was to bring about an ethical, transparent, functional, realistic option to what was, you know, working on those road systems aside us. So yeah, you have to make those decisions along the way, and especially when you, like you say, when you're a new company and finance is a problem, can be a problem. I mean, being a woman in business, again, you're lucky in that, you know, women have moved forward. Thankfully, we've all moved forward together. In that, when I started, the banks didn't want to listen to me. You know, they
Mhm.
didn't want. I wrote business plans, and they weren't happy to want to offer me, you know, a loan or any kind. There's no investors. It was an
Was it?
overdraft
I
facility.
was gonna say, wasn't, and I just learned about this probably maybe 6 months to a year ago, but I don't know. It was like not too long ago that women could even get credit cards on their own, right?
Yeah.
You had to have your husband be on
And if you didn't
everything.
have a husband, where are you going?
Yeah, like some of us don't. What is some of us out here don't need a husband? Won't want a
No,
husband.
no, no. It is, and that is how. I mean, God forbid that we ever go back to this kind of scenario where women are treated as second-class citizens or incompetents, or, you know, not, you know, too hysterical to make sensible choices. I mean, women have in business, in science, in the arts, we've kind of trodden this path to make you know, to make society see that, and come to understand what we already know about ourselves, is that we are
Yeah.
competent, brave, um, women, that can achieve whatever we want to. We have women who've gone into space. You know, we've had women who've done, you know, legal challenges that have been phenomenal. We've had women who've done the most incredible surgery, who invented all sorts of solutions to ill health. We have the way and the power. Sometimes the means are not given to us,
Yeah.
or they're taken away from us.
It was for sure a man's world. We know that, but like you sitting here and you telling me that you started this, like this idea came to you and began in 1989 shows that like the strides you have seen so much advancement.
Mm.
It kind of blows my mind. I always wonder. I want to touch base on a little bit more on the company and like feminine products and stuff like that because I have an 11-year-old girl turning 12,
Mhm.
and I just literally learned last night through a client's account who's a cycle syncer. She like helps with womb health, that there are different kinds of pads and that you should probably have all of them. And I'm just like, there are obviously all these things I don't know. Um,
Mhm.
and then health wise, I have some questions, but um, I'm curious because you have gotten to see the different phases of like entrepreneurship, technology. You were talking about how fax machines. I remember fax machines. I remember having to copy everything and like I remember the dial up and I remember floppy disks. Okay? So I
Yeah.
remember some of it, but like what is your perspective on all this? I think all the time like when I look at my children, devices are so common and I don't want
Mhm.
it to be common. So I'm curious if like my perspective is like that. Like let's get back a little bit more to nature and get grounded and like away from technology. What's your perspective? Because I know you've seen it both ways.
Yeah, I've got two boys. And my boys are all grown up now, but uh, weirdly enough, I wouldn't let them have phones. I mean, they weren't smartphones back then, but it was it was phones, and I didn't want them to have a phone. And actually, they acquired a phone before I even knew they had a phone. They were probably around maybe 13. But they, they could have some access to the internet under, we were controlling it. But now. I mean, I'm not against tech. I mean, my husband's a computer scientist and a mathematician. My eldest son's a biochemist, and my youngest one's a musician and a squash player. So I think that it's a balance. In technology is a resource. Humans have been on this planet for a long time, and we've evolved with the use of some kind of technology. And I know for way back, it might have just been a stick. It could have been a stone. So technology is a tool. It's not. It should never be seen as a replacement for our own ingenuity, our own adeptness at using, our fingers and our eyes and our voices and our
Yes.
minds. So I don't see technology as an evil. I see it as a tool, but it's
Hmm.
recognizing the limits of that tool in as much as the limits that you need to use it without replacing your own skill base and your own growth. So it becomes more and more difficult, obviously, because social media is a huge thing, and on one side it's an amazing thing that's connected up communities across the
And
world, talking to each
yeah,
other, passing on ideas. Even our surgeons who can do surgery over the internet with robotics. So I mean, reaching parts where there never would be a doctor. So there's so much that we have to be thankful for, but it's recognizing, for me personally, it was with my children, is that when it becomes a useful tool to make things to allow you to progress your own skills and abilities and knowledge, use it as a tool. Don't use it as a sort of walking stick.
like a crutch,
Yeah.
like the second nature. Yeah. Okay. I like that perspective. I'm very grateful for it. I mean, look,
But
you.
yeah.
I was trying not to interrupt, but I'm like, I mean, that's how we got here. Like through
Yeah.
social media, through this amazing connection of the worldwide internet. I didn't ask. I feel like you already said it, but where are you based right now?
I'm here in Bristol in the southwest of
Okay.
England. It's out,
Okay.
if you were, it's out California. We're on the Atlantic, just virtually on the Atlantic, the North Atlantic. So, yeah, we're in the southwest of England, and we're sort of it's a fantastic place. I wasn't born here. I was born in the Midlands in Nottingham, the home of Robin Hood. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
That's pretty cool to be able to say that.
Yeah, I'm the home of Robin Hood. and Maid Marian, of course. So the Southwest is this region where I am is very much it's the arts. We have the BBC nature programs are all based here. ITV, there's film studios. It's the creative arts. It's two university. It's a place where you can come and develop and be. And no one goes, oh my God, what's that? It's a place of personal expression and maybe outspoken views. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what's the cost of living? It sounds amazing.
Yeah. It is a bit expensive down here because everyone wants to be here. I think Bristol was this year classified as the best place in Britain to live. And so a lot of people, most people who go to the universities after they finish, a lot of them, I think it's something like 80% stay in the area.
Holy
There's a
smokes.
lot of jobs and in the arts and sciences and AI and tech. It's a good mix, and we have a huge diverse population as well. So we have that benefit of all cultures mixing together and learning from each other. So it's a cool place to be. I like it.
Oh my God. Well,
Been here longer than anywhere else.
It sounds amazing. You speak highly of it and you've been there a while. It sounds like so. Okay, because on my bucket list, I gotta get, pardon my French, the fuck out of Mississippi. I'm in the United States. And so like I get to travel, like I'll be in Chicago, Illinois next week, and I've gotten to do like some little mountain trips, and the plan is to buy a camper. I pulled my daughter out of out of school and homeschooling her and just really trying to like preserve her innocence, I think, and
I think rather than the view of preserving innocence, I think it's more a case of strengthening up the resilience, because if you're not resilient, it's easy to lose your innocence, I think. And what you're doing is fantastic because you're giving it that.
Oh, I love that. I love that when I tell somebody this. I mean, people around here might not get it, but it's just really good to like get that confirmation. But what I was saying was, oh God, what was I saying? Oh, got to get out of Mississippi, right? So I'm making an effort to do that and take her, and like I want to take my son here and there, but he's littler, so it'll just be a lot harder. And he's got his dad here, and we have 3 other boys, so we're a big blended family. Little backstory, so any of this makes sense.
That's a great team.
So it makes sense. Thank you. But I want to get out of the country, and so all of over there. Like I want to see it all. But every time I get on like a chat with somebody, so Bristol, I've not had anybody say, "Oh, like Bristol is amazing." I haven't heard about Bristol yet. So my question is, long story short, where do I go when I go to Bristol? Like what do I have to see? What is the thing?
It depends what time of year you come. I mean, you can say Bristol is at the top or at the hub of the southwest of England. So if you come in June, is it June, end of June, you can go to Glastonbury, you can go to the music festival. There is the Harbour Festa around Bristol. North of us is Bath. So if you like a bit of Regency stuff, there's the Jane Austen vibe and the Roman baths and the Minerva fountains. But in Bristol, it's culture, it's arts and music and food. And we're quite a small city. We're in we've got 360 degrees countryside around us. So and then the coast. So you can go surfing. Actually, there's a surf lake just down the road from me. It's called the Wave. I can walk and I can surf down the absolutely, and great coffee afterwards. So there's a surfing lake. We've got there is whatever you want. That will give you a sort of a broad cultured exposure to things. But Bristol and the Southwest has it in shed loads. I mean, you go into Devon, South Devon, you've got the coastal footpaths, beaches. Down into Cornwall, you've got on the north, you've got the rugged cliffs and the smashing Atlantic waves and surf. You go onto the south coast, a little bit more gentle, sandy beaches, nice and warm. You would bring your VW camper van and park up and do what
be
you
quiet.
like.
You were like just spewing off all my life dreams right now.
We are welcome. We welcome everyone in Bristol. We're a welcoming community.
Susie, I think I want to be like you when I grow up.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. I take that as applause.
You're just so awesome. You are. You're very like chill, very chill, relaxed, and just I don't know.
I think,
I like you a lot.
when you are in a business, I mean, I've had a lot of challenges in this role. The things that I was talking about and continue to talk about around the issues of the products, kind of, what's in period products, even to, some that are, claiming to be natural. I've got issues with them, or talking about toxic shock syndrome, or talking about, I mean, I've had run the gambit of lawyers from the corporates who want to close my voice down. And I pride myself on, I've never said anything that I could never defend in court. Truth and transparency is what we're about. So I feel like, in this agenda to bring this to all people who bleed, is that I've had to take on not just the challenge of setting up a company, creating a product, production, distribution, getting, people to stock the product, getting consumers to trust and buy the product. I've also had to sort of, remind people that there are products out there that also tell you they are the greatest thing for you, but actually they're not telling you the full truth. So it's a simple. It seems like a simple idea to do something, but you have to be prepared to take on your challengers and your stone throwers. Many of which came from the corporates who did not like that I was shaking the menstrual periods category and speaking the truth. So I feel like I wear my battle scars on my body for all women out there, so that they could, this category never existed until Natracare came into this area for many, many, many years, at least a decade and a half, maybe 2 decades. So I was fighting a battle on my own. But it was, it was a bit of a vertigo, I suppose. I'm doing it for us. And that is what keeps me going. And that's why I'm still doing it now. There's a lot of money in the industry. There's brands being bought up here, there, and everywhere, and there's a lot of products that are made, many products. I mean, we manufacture all our products in Europe, and our raw materials are sourced from Europe. We're certified compostable, we're certified organic. Our tampons have got certified organic, our wipes are certified organic. We're doing the right thing for nature and for transparency. But there's other stuff out there that is, I think this is a cool market to be in. Let's do it a bit. And that's, that's the ongoing challenge, is making sure that we keep the category clean and pure.
Yes. So one, I want to commend you because I'm a business coach and a client attraction coach. So like my jam is marketing, and helping women who want to lead movements, very similar to what you're doing. And so I just got to stop for a second for all the listeners, because think about how many women are out there who have a vision. And like you were saying, well, nobody's doing it, so I guess I got to do it. Don't ever do it, or like too scared to do it, because it's so easy to not begin if you can't see it in like your physical 3D yet. And what I've really grown to love, and I think believe fully and just am super committed to, is the belief that it's not about like, that saying, well, I'll believe it when I see it.
Hmm.
Like, you took this idea and this passion from your heart, like you knew what was right, you knew what needed to be done, and it's not like 89. I was born in 89. That's what I was trying to say earlier, Susie. You've been doing this for a minute. Like, that is such a beautiful commitment. And to like, the integrity's there. You're still doing the right thing. I'm just, oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh gosh, you're amazing. And then the second thing, because I just know so many women are out there like on the fence, or
Mm.
just they don't go after the whole enchilada because it's just them. I'm sitting in my closet right now, okay?
It's
But
a
like,
great closet.
thank you. But the vision, like my vision is so big. I know that this podcast will I won't stop until it's big, until it makes
Mm.
a big impact. Like I know it's making an impact, and it's okay that it's just me in my closet. At first it was me on my bed. So we're leveling up, okay?
You see my picture behind. Can you see the picture on the wall?
I can. Who is it?
That's
Is it
my
you?
mother and
Oh,
my
your mom.
father.
Oh,
And that was taken in the 1950s, probably mid to
yeah.
1950s. And my mother started as a seamstress. My father built, you see these pictures of guys on top of steel, like the Empire State Building. My dad did
That's
that job.
terrifying. That's
Not in
terrifying.
America, but he did it here. So, I came from, a quite a poor working class family in the Midlands. And there, over the time, my mum trained to become a nurse. My dad, if he didn't have a job, busked on that accordion. He would go in the streets and busk to make sure there's food on the table. We only ever cook, raw. My mother cooked from raw veg and meat, or what? I mean, I'm vegetarian, but my brother got fat on me. But I just used to give him the meat rather than suffer the swings and arrows of my mother's ire having cooked.
Oh
But
my gosh.
the education, because of my access to education, I was able to move, I guess move myself out and up, never away, because these are my roots. I'm never ashamed of my roots. These are my roots. This is what, this is the soil that I came out of, and I remember those roots. So when you have an understanding of why you're doing something, where you've come from, and how far you've come in each step that you do, it reinforces that sense of I can't even think of a word for it. There's so many words in the English language, and there's thousands in other languages I've never been able to come to. But it's that sense of I feel right, and that's where, when you have an idea and you get yourself prepared for it, you plan, you do your research, you make sure you've got the right finances. You're not going to put your family at risk with taking risks that you can't pay for. That it is that next step. And never have it said that because you come from somewhere that's not expected to be a place that you should be doing these things, that imposter syndrome thing that many of us suffer from, and especially amongst women, is that never take that as a sort of a stop sign. Just you're achieving so much each day when you stride through that, when you say no, goodbye to that. Don't tell me I can't do something. This stuff needs to be done, and I have this idea and I'm going to go with it. And I think women are well prepared for that. They have rational brains, they can do their own internal risk assessments without, right. But I always say write it down. But we have that as women, and really that sort of that missing thing is sometimes that we expect people to say to us, well, you're doing right, you're doing okay. But really, we know when we're doing right and when we're doing okay. So it's we accept that we have this power, and it's only ourselves that stop us from achieving what we want to achieve. I mean, I'd say I come from a very poor working class background, and I was able to socially climb because of opportunity through education, opportunity through the jobs I did in the past, my business. But I also never forget that we are part of 1% for the planet. So 1% of our turnover goes back into environmental and social projects. So we also know for me personally, I'm not saying everyone should do this, but there's no good making money if it's not doing some good. And for me, I feel that as a business, what we're doing is good. We're doing good by producing a better product for women and the environment, but also a large proportion of the profits is going back to other good projects that allow other people to achieve good and change. So it's a part where women are part of an ingenious economy, because we have this personality also within us to care and nurture. So by being successful, we're also helping others to be successful.
I love that so much. I love that so much. What I'm taking away from that is, regardless of where you come from, if you get curious and you just, I think that's the big thing, is like leading with curiosity, like
Mm,
in everything, and how you feel, and where you like question, why am I the way I am? Oh, let's just get curious about it and kind of like remove the judgment and shame, right?
yeah,
I love
definitely.
that you took advantage of the education. And I try to tell people this, especially, I mean, I say I try to, I've quit trying. Like, you can make these gentle suggestions, like,
Mhm.
oh, this is a great book, or, I listened to this podcast, but like, people are going to find it and receive it when they're ready for that, for the change. But I tell my kids and I tell my clients, like, if you just get curious and you just, I don't know, open a book or find a podcast or just somebody you resonate with, you'll get curious about more. And then before you know it, like your brain is just evolving and it's expanding and you start to like increase your self-worth. You start to hang out with different people. But yeah, I resonated with that. I know that it's a little bit different, but
But
I
people
come,
learn from all sorts of things. I mean, I've been fortunate that I was given the opportunity, and I was, I was blessed, I guess, with an inquisitive brain, and I was able to, I loved learning. I loved being at school. I mean, some of the stuff that they were teaching me was, well, some might have some disagreements about some facts in history, but that's part of the learning process, isn't it? To learn how to rationalize about information that you're given. But there are also situations where, in nature, in scenarios with other people where you are learning incredible things. It's not come from a book, it's come from interactions and recognizing, scenarios where you can personally help, or, volunteering is like, if you put into the, GDPR, or wherever it is, GDP, the value of unpaid work in the volunteer sector, it'd be billions, billions. That could be someone who's looking, as a carer, someone who's looking after a friend, a parent, a relative of some kind, someone who's helping out, at a school, helping with, kids read, or, helping in garden. That the whole volunteer sector is worth a fortune, and all that people are giving is their time and their experience and their knowledge, and it doesn't have to be knowledge learned from a book. It can be, experiences that you can share, and pass on a skill that, you've learned over a long time. It's easy to be, as an education person, someone who also has a postgraduate education. It's easy to fall under the spell that everything that's good comes from a book. Everything There means some great things that comes from books, but we mustn't also dispel the fact that there's great things that come from having experience in, around, and around things. Going out and helping, if you're into nature, you can join the conservation corps or similar and go and help lay hedges, or learn how to restorative agriculture by going and helping out in a community garden. You can learn about caring for people by just assisting, with people who need help and care. So there is personal experiences that is also a great educator, and that's, often not considered as a wealthy thing to own.
yeah, I hadn't, I mean, I guess I have thought about the so for me, it was like, I loved getting around people who were doing what I wanted to do. So I'd like intern or like do some free projects and stuff like that. Um, or spending time with older people was something I really enjoyed doing, right? Um, but so I was being raised in the South, like Bible Belt South. We
Mhm.
were raised to be very like as servants, I guess, serving the Lord and whatnot. Um, but anyhow, so I love that you point that out because a lot of people do forget about like the volunteer work and just putting yourself out there.
Mhm.
And then like what comes of those connections? One, it's you're doing something great, but like it's a whole new environment and you learn so much. And I don't know. Thank you for saying all that. I'm just gonna be quiet because that was really great. I'll just leave it where it is.
It
Um,
makes you feel good too, because,
mhm.
doing things for others, makes you feel good. It makes you feel, fulfilled that you're doing something worthwhile. And I guess, 35 years of doing it. It's just, why are you still doing it? Because I still feel that I'm doing something worthwhile, because there's so many challenges to overcome. I can help people, and, there's some, other companies or other women that are starting up in business, not even related to it, or giving a loan to someone, through the loan exchange systems, where there are organizations in, say, in Africa, where you can have a loan organization. You can give a woman, $45, and she'll turn that into a business and then pay back, and her kids are educated. There's all sorts of ways that you can make, your small pots of money or small amounts of skill pay back in a big way. And that's really, apart from Natracare being a product, it is a concept that came from my heart. It came from, everything about Natracare that is Natracare is me. which might sound a bit weird or maybe a bit precocious, but it embodies all the things that are important and to me, and I care about, and I feel has integrity. So I hope that people, when, if they're buying Natracare or they're seeing Natracare, and they know that they are sharing in that, and the payback through 1% for the planet. And there are other organizations outside of 1% for the planet that we give financial support to and aid, that you are, I guess I'm saying is that it's the power of the purse. Is how you decide where your own hearts and support is going, and learning about products and services and companies, and where that money that you're handing over, what is supporting, is quite an important consideration. So so it's the same when you're setting up a business or a service, is to understand that people need to feel that when they give you their money, they're supporting something that they can hold their hand up to say, I'm really proud that I gave my money to that product and I received this back, because it's part of this network of making things better. And we all think you have to make big statements and make big things you don't need to get on a Greenpeace ship and sail to the Arctic to save a whale, which could be fabulous to do that. But you can support the notion that we don't need so much plastic because it's polluting the ocean. Just for us, like all of Natracare pads are compostable, and our pant liners they're certified compostable. And we went through a lot of science and testing with an external agency to prove that. But we know that, in a year, for the amount of products that we sold, that in a whole year of just, if you were just buying Natracare products and using Natracare products, you prevented what is effectively plastic the size of a blue whale going into our marine environments.
Get out.
By making that choice, you're basically helping to keep that environment that blue whale needs to live in pristine. So you can make a difference by just thinking about the choices that you make. And there's so many conscious choices across all the consumer market services that you can make. It just takes that little bit of time to sit down and do your little bit of research.
This is wrapping up and tying together beautifully, because I want to talk about, like, first off, your products. Being in America, that's where I'm going to start.
Mm-hmm.
You already know probably that America's regulations, like with health and our products. And as a parent, I'm learning a lot about dyes, about bleaching, like all the things, organic. But there's so much out there. There's so much out there that it's hard to know. Like you were saying earlier, I half the time think that I'm buying a great product. Like it's saying organic or like da 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 da, but if I really stop and look, I don't really know. I feel like I'm buying the marketing. So, one, having a young woman who I want to make sure that her hormones are okay, that she's able to, if she wants to have babies, be able to reproduce. I want her to be good. I want her to be as natural and as feeling herself as possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus I was put on birth control at a very young age. I've been using tampons and all these things, and my hormones are all kinds of fucked up. Like, I'm 35, just now getting hold of my hormones. So, your products sound great. Are they available in America?
Oh yeah, we've been there since our non-applicator tampons and all of our pads have been there since 1991. And our applicator tampons since 1992. So, as you said, regulation. Tampons are regulated medical devices. Well, actually, pads are. They're a lower class, but you have to be registered. We also have a quality. Our quality system has to be such that it meets the regulations. So I can give you all sorts of ISOs, but so we're a medical device regulated manufacturer. So yes, all the regulations are met, but the regulations do not, the FDA or Health Canada, they don't do their own individual research. Know that. Number one, they're a regulatory body and they rely on the industry to inform them, to provide, their own, curated research as to what's safe and effective.
Are you serious? I did not know that.
No, they don't do their own research. They're
But
never using public money, using your money to do that. And know that, and there is an organization that, is there to, obviously the FDA and like Health Canada are there to protect you. They're not there to do their own research. If you might cast your mind back, there was a lot of publicity recently, back end of last year, about heavy metals in tampons. We do precautionary tests. We don't use any processes or raw materials where there would ever be heavy metals in our products, but we still do precautionary testing every year, because we take the precautionary route. What if you don't look, you don't find. If you don't aim to look, how would you ever know? And we put our results on our website. But it was quite clear that there were many. I think it's on at Berkeley, their research. That's another fact for you. Berkeley Castle's not too far away from me. That the fact that there is heavy metals in the process that's then left in the product is a concern, because some of those heavy metals that were detected in many products that were also certified as organic. When you're looking at organic tampons, there's two things to know. One, there is the growing of cotton to an organic standard, which is a sort of like, for America, it would be the USDA. For Europe, it'd be to the European regulations. If you were in Turkey, it'd be to the Turkish government regulations. And they're all governed by an overarching organization called IFOAM, to make sure that those agricultural standards for organics meet the same criteria and standards. But then there's processing. So how is that product processed? So if you're processing the cotton to no known standard, how do you know that cotton it ends up in your product comes from an organic farm? So the Global Organic Textile Standards is that process, and it's the only standard that is approved by the USDA. So Natracare tampons are certified to the Global Organic Textile Standards. So that's from farm to end of processing. So for tampons, look for the Global Organic Textile Standard. It's a little green logo, but it'll say GOTS on it. And there's a whole load of standards in there, not only just for production and processing. There's all sorts of things that are not permitted and are independently tested for. But there's also a component of environmental and social care in there. So to make sure that the people who are working in these, if they're producing cotton or dyeing stuff or processing, they're not being exploited. So if you're buying something from China, unless it's a Global Organic Textile Standards certified product, you're probably not going to know a lot about what those standards are. So that's number one. For our pads, we use all certified organic cotton. We use FSC and PEFC, which is a process for how wood is grown, how forestry is managed ecologically. It's processed without chlorine of any description. We use home compost certified biofilms as a barrier that's made from plant starch, but the whole product is then certified compostable. So you can put it in industrial composting. You could actually put it in a domestic compost bin, but it would take you a bit longer than it would in industrial composting. So looking for certifications outside of a government regulation usually gives you more than the state's giving you. The state systems is basically the minimum. So the fact that toxic shock syndrome went on unchecked for so long was an argument over what causes it. Is it the absorbency? Is it the fiber type? Who decides? Is it the industry? Generally, the research comes from the industry. The only independent research that's been conducted into toxic shock syndrome and the types of fibers used is by New York University Med School back in the mid-90s. And Natracare products were the only products in that research that they could not generate the toxin that creates toxic shock syndrome. So there's sort of safety issues around a product. There's performance and there's quality. And the end of life, you want to know that when you finish with the product, it's not going to end up in a landfill, or it's going to get washed out in the rivers and out to sea. Or if you burn it, you're shoving a load of dioxins and toxins up your chimney stack. So there is a lot of things to consider, but there are very few organizations that within a state system that would give you that. It comes from external agencies. The Environmental Protection Agency, is governed by, this obviously that can change depending on the politics of the time. But for me, because I've been in an American market for a long time, I hear that people were put good stead by European regulations, because we have European cosmetic regulations, we have safety regulations for production of end products. So do your research, but don't rely on the state as a stamp of what is good. Look for the Global Organic Textile Standard. Look for an independent accreditation that is valued across markets, and in that way you can be sure that you are avoiding the kind of processes, pesticides, heavy metals, PFOs. PFOs are like, the latest monster, the latest Frankenstein. That, those of us who are environmentalists have known about this is coming for decades. But if you choose to buy, period underwear, you need to look at what they're made from, because PFOs is part of the material, the processing that makes them waterproof.
What does that stand? What are you saying? PFOs?
Yeah, they're basically they're fluorochlorines. They're called forever chemicals.
Huh.
They stay in the environment, in the water. I mean, you're probably drinking it. I mean, it's so pernicious in the environment, it's almost impossible to get. And such now that Teflon pans, they contain the same fluorocarbons that are absorbed into your body. So we're probably all highly polluted by now, because when you come back to regulatory things, when you rely on an industry to tell you something's safe based on your own research, what is there for the regulatory industry? Okay, you've showed us, we're not going to go and check it ourselves because we don't have the money, we don't have the probably technicians to do that. We'll look at the safety and effectiveness, we'll review it over time. Now these things have been in the environment for so long. The agencies like the FDA and Health Canada and the European Union are looking at the safety of these ingredients and saying, sorry, we're going to ban these. We're going to have to ban the use of fluorocarbons, because they're everywhere, and they're creating life-changing, life-ending conditions. So where do you go? I mean, it's a hodgepodge, because
Yeah.
I've known that the regulatory authorities, wherever they are in the world, are not looking after consumers. Independent organizations that have the ethos of looking to protect nature and to protect health are the organizations that are most likely to be looking out for the impact of these products. So Made Safe, EWG, in some instances, the Women's Voices for the Earth, although, in some places there have been products that have been raised as being wonderful that turn out to be, contain heavy metals or contain fluorochlorine. So it's look for the validity of the certifications that people have got. Are they just a made up thing that, is greenwashing, as greenwashing is the term, or is it really something that's independent and has real science behind it? Because we shouldn't take these things lightly, because we're lathering stuff on our bodies every day, and the skin is a great organ for absorbing into the body. I mean, that's and we women use so many products, so we're a great body of consumers.
Oh yeah, just consumerism in general is, it really blows my mind how addicted we are as humans to products and needing something so instant. So I have a couple questions before we close it out, and that is, so look for it's GOTS certificate. And that's green.
Yeah.
It'll be green, and I'll look for a picture and show everybody.
Yeah.
But so we're looking for that. What are we like trying to stay away from? I'm seeing like scented tampons, like all these weird, I don't know, it feels unnatural in a sense.
Yeah, well, tampons, some tampons are labeled as organic, that also, if they're certified to the OCS, the organic content standard, you don't have to be 100% organic to have the OCS.
Okay.
You can have a synthetic overwrap, you can have a synthetic string. That's why I say look for GOTS for a tampon.
Okay.
In pads, again, they may contain regular plastic, petroleum-based plastic. For me personally, there's and I stand with the Federal Trade Commission on this. The use of the term bamboo as a natural is a fallacy. Bamboo as a material is viscose. There is no definition for bamboo as an independent fiber fabric. It's actually viscose, and the FTC just I think it was last year, the year before, fined a couple of companies millions of dollars for making claims about bamboo as being natural, better for the environment. It's a product that is derived from bamboo that uses horrendous chemicals to process it. So whilst it might be nice to grow bamboo in an environment, as long as it doesn't become a sort of, a crop that is now quite valuable and therefore it's grown less naturally, the actual process of getting from bamboo to make a fiber is highly toxic. So you can go look at the FTC ruling on the term of bamboo. They can't call it bamboozling. And it actually, you can be prosecuted for making natural claims for bamboo. So wow. I would say that bamboo is bamboozling is the ultimate in greenwashing, in that it's a natural material. So look for organic cotton, and the resources for the product have come from managed sustainable resources, and you can see the trailing for it in their certification of where it's come from. So washables, reusables are fine, as long as you make sure that those washables don't contain materials that also have fluorocarbons in them. And the instruction to wash them 3 times before you use it, please think of the environment. If you need to wash those products 3 times before you use them for your own safety, those fluorocarbons, those fluorochlorines are being washed into our water system to remain there forever. They shouldn't be there in the first place.
When you say washables, are you talking about like the inserts or the little cups? Or I don't understand.
You can get period underwear, and also you can get pads that are washable. Look for an organic washable product, and one that has validation that it doesn't contain PFAs, because there have been cases that the Women's Voices for the Earth called out where products were claiming that they didn't contain PFAs, and when tested they did, because they're buying them from, many of these products come from China. So Chinese people are amazing, creative, productive people, but you can't always trust that the the validations that come are actually valid. And we know from the work that's been done that bamboo is not a credible natural material, and you can't call it natural. So but yes, you can menstrual cups, but again, don't treat them as you've still got to be conscious that there is still risk for toxic shock syndrome using a menstrual cup. So you just need to be not let your guards down, but it's what really suits you, and you can have a whole mix of them. If you're traveling and you don't, for Natracare with compostable, you can bury them in the ground, bury them deep in the ground, they'll compost. But if you want to take, a washable or a reusable, make sure the place that you're going to, that the water is potable, that it's clean water that you can wash them in. Don't, if it's not clean water, you don't want to be, inserting it to you. So there are all sorts of considerations that you have to think about. It's time and place and purpose. But with this, there is, we're available across America in natural product stores, Whole Foods, whatever, and we're also available online now. We've now got an e-commerce site, so you can go shop at natracare.com. Amazon, we're on Amazon too. There's no reason why we're not accessible, but I think you really have to look at what your own personal choices and what your needs are. We have dry and light Inco products as well, which is for sneezy moments, as we call it. The time I'm actually, people think about folks who have like stress incontinence as being old people, but it actually is the highest instance between women of 18 and 25, especially if they've had repeated cystitis, or they're having this kind of thing. That we have sneezy moment pads too. So there is there's a whole load of things that came out of my journey that tried to address, there's so much plastic in these products, I've got to get these products and design them without the plastics and without the chemicals. And then I suppose for me, our final parting shot is that in this times that we're in at the moment, the biggest resource that we have is our own kindness. Kindness to others. And we probably found that during COVID, that all we could give was kindness and support to each other. So for the past couple of years, we've been running our Be Kind project, and you can go to our website at natracare.com and you sign up. And it's not, it's just a way of reminding you that each day you can do something to be kind to yourself. And also, if you feel so inclined, to be kind to someone else. And that might be a friend, someone you don't know, or just something in the environment. So Natracare as a product, it is not just a product. It is, as I said, it's my whole life out there in a package of several packages. But the giving back is intention is to make our world and ourselves better for it. Because the one thing that distinguishes us from anything else is that we bleed every month. And when we stop bleeding every month, we think about how we look after our sisters who need our help, because we're then, probably older and maybe grandmothers and looking after the children. So it's a part of what is special about us and unique about us. And as you rightly pulled out, that we need to take care of our health, because there's not really any other organizations out there who care to take care of our health for us. It's just a marginal nod to it rather than an in-depth view. So
oh yes, again, back to the whole America thing. We got to get it together, man, because I feel like we're just, when I say we, just the whole system is in the business of just keeping people sick, treating us like numbers, and I'm just I'm fucking over it, Susie. I'm over it. I'm over it.
It is that, looking after yourself. And I think I probably, my parents, they didn't have the benefit. And we know Britain's got a National Health Service, and you've got your care system that's on its teachers. But there's nothing. We always used to look to America that look at Americans. They're so, well, maybe this is not a good point to say, but we used to look to Americans and say, look how Americans, especially this time where they know it's expensive to look after poor health, that they have this mindset of looking after their health so they don't have to face the bills of poor health. And that seemed to us to be a very American thing. And it takes 2 years for what happens in America to filter over to Britain as a concept. So, in the 80s, we had all this like, oh, we're all going to take care of our health and we're all going to be healthy. But we have the benefit. We say we have the benefit of a free health service. So we do pay, we pay a national insurance, but it's free at the point of access, of need. But there is also that point that when you and I think it's one of the things that makes us British, to be honest. But it's in trouble because it's not, it's there's so much ill health. There's so much unhealthy people with obesity and diabetes and alcohol abuse, effects of drugs, people who smash themselves up driving because they're, driving crazy. That puts pressure on that health service. And the really thing is if we can step back and say, let's just take care of ourselves a bit better so that we don't need this emergency system, but so much. But we know that at a point now, I had breast cancer in 2019. So I'm thankful that there was a National Health Service there to take care of me. I know my surgery, my radiotherapy, that's fantastic. And I didn't have to worry whether it was going to bankrupt me. For not just for America, but there are other countries around the world where, there is no ability to seek healthcare because there is no money for it. And that makes your life, troublesome. It makes your decisions difficult. So looking after your health as much as you can, if you have resource to do that, makes the most sense to me. That's not always easy if you don't have access to good food, you don't have access to good water, or you have a job that works you 12, 15 hours a day. It's difficult, but that's where kindness comes in. Then we can see, if we see people around us like that, let's just help them out. Let's, even if it's just, baking a pie and taking it around to them, or, looking after their kids for an hour so they can have a sleep, or,
Oh,
this
yes.
this is part of, we have to say that we have to take care of ourselves, but we all need to take care of community. We need community because that's what we as humans have evolved to be. Um, so yeah, in my little Natracare way, it's a community of staff of 35 years that we've been trying to do something good and be kind and, change the way that we look at how we take things out of nature and then put it back in. But we can do this every day. We can do this in our everyday life. Kindness doesn't cost anything, does it?
Sure doesn't. I like to say it is free 99.
Mhm.
Not 3.99, free 99, y'all. So,
Really nice. But well, on your point of, we all know what's, this, it's difficult when there's a political change and we feel like there's not, it might not suit us, or it might feel frightening, or it might feel, some people may feel joy, but it's a very short time. Time, I mean, time moves on. I mean, just as in a business in Britain, in the time that I've been in business, we've been through 4 recessions and we came
mhm.
out the other side of it. We came through 2008 when there was a crash. Resilience, we talked about teaching resilience, is
Yes.
something that we all need to learn, because and hope that things do change. But what makes things change is our own perspective and the things that we do to help that change come along. And tomorrow's another day. I learned that through my breast cancer and radiotherapy, that today is a challenge, but each day we're winning, we're getting through it, and I'll meet whatever comes next. And that's a good. I feel that's my guiding star. We'll deal with this today and we'll plan for tomorrow. But I won't be deterred by what comes tomorrow. I'll just plan a different way the next day. And
Oh,
remember that in business too.
oh, full body chills. Like, that was so good. And I want to close it out with just saying that you said something earlier whenever I asked you about your opinion on technology and business perspective, parental perspective, just, I mean, human perspective, right? Uh,
Mhm.
I love how you talked about your sons being able to use a computer. We called that the family computer. And it took like 20 minutes to get that bad boy going. But I just hope that whoever's listening today, um, and I'm going to ask you because I'm super curious. You've got so much wisdom, how old you are.
Oh wow. I was 72 on December the 16th, just gone.
Okay. You look
But I just want to tell you, I had some blood tests done because I had pneumonia earlier in the year. My mother had pneumonia. I got pneumonia. I had all these blood tests and came up with this kind of genetic condition that I have, is two out of 3 of anticoagulants that they can either called hemophilia or clots. And my consultant came back and said, "Oh, we need aggressive cardiovascular management." So being a person of science, I thought, I don't even know what my status quo is, because I've been involved in sport all my life, whether it's all kinds of sport. And I gave up squash just before I played Premier Squash just before I had my breast cancer in 2019. So I need to know my status quo. So this last weekend, I hiked up to the north of England to a place called Tomorrow's Wellness, and it's kind of you have cardiologists, a consultant cardiologist, and I spent 2 hours of having my ultrasound on all of my arteries.
Mhm.
I had ECGs, I had body mass, visceral fat, cardiovascular facility, all this. My arteries are perfect. My my visceral fat is perfect. My cardiovascular capabilities were off the scale of excellent. And whilst I was on the bike cycling through the hills of Northumberland on the screen to the Killers, um, all your vital signs are on the wall. And the cardiologist says, I have the cardiovascular system of a 35-year-old.
Get the fuck out, Susie.
Honestly. So because I've played sport all my life, I've been a vegetarian since I was 11. The one thing that I do have is hypertension. So when they take your blood pressure, you really need to see. I got white coat syndrome. If you take my blood pressure, it goes through the roof. So, and the feedback that cardiologists gave to me was that, one, I know what my internal systems are okay. I don't need to worry about having these two, genetic things going off in my blood. That what I put in the bank all my life, good healthy eating, exercising, moderate, this. I don't drink, I don't smoke, but I will drink, a glass of wine now again. That I feel like, okay, I know where I am at now. I've got the internal system of a 35-year-old. I must go and do some weight training to maintain my health. But I was off the scale. I was off the scale of excellent by 25%. So that's given that I haven't done a lot of cardiovascular exercise the past year, having had pneumonia, I was pretty proud of that. So I'm not afraid of being 72. People say to me, we don't think of you being 72. I feel, I feel that one, you have to keep healthy to keep going. You have to keep healthy for your kids, and I've got grandchildren as well, very young grandchildren. But I feel good that I've kind of taken the natural route subconsciously that's given me that kind of money in the bank to be able to go out and do whatever I want and not worry about whether I'm going to have a heart attack or a stroke or whatever, because it's the same in everything you do. What you put in the bank at the early start, but it's never too late. It's never too late to put those things better. And I was prepared for that, given this genetic condition, that whatever I need to do to stop anything happening, I'm prepared to do it, because we women are strong. I think we're strong. I think we're determined. We know we're carers, and we carry the weight of stuff. We carry the weight of resistance. We carry the weight of support. And we need to be healthy and mindful that a lot of stuff relies on us, and I'm very conscious there's quite a lot of stuff that relies on me, and I'm glad that I've got the internal system of a 35-year-old to keep doing it.
That's incredible, because I'm 35 and I bet my internal system is that of an 80-year-old.
Never too late to change.
Well, that's what
And I advocate doing it on a bike to the killers. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get at. It was like, I wouldn't have guessed how old you are. Never would have guessed it. Not that I don't even consider that old, to be honest. Like, that's what trips me up, is when people get offended about, oh, you asked my age. I'm like, you're just asking how many years of wisdom I have, is what I feel like.
You always get
but,
right. Everything you learn your wisdom from meeting other people who pass on that wisdom.
But you're not, I think that was the grand scheme I was trying to say, is like, yeah, you're never too old. Like, you're out here killing it. You're killing it.
It's fine. It's fine. So, yeah, and you never know how long you got. I mean, I think I'm having had the breast cancer. It's just like I was lucky. I was lucky in the diagnosis, and I have to take estrogen blockers, which also means, like, the protection that estrogen gives you for your cardiovascular system was also a worry for me, because I've been taking estrogen blockers, medicated for 5 years. How is this impacted? Well, actually, you're all right. Okay, I must have good genes, apart from those other two. Thanks, Mum, Dad. Must be all that dirt. I think it must be all the dirt and poverty that we were brought. I know there was never any dirt. My mum was like, super. Ooh, crikey. No, but yeah, good genes. You can't help your genes. That's just the way it is.
Well, it was just, I just loved how you ended it. You're like, thanks, Mom and Dad.
Thanks, Mum and Dad.
That's so cute. You're so cute. Oh, this has been so good. So freaking good. And
it's been lovely to talk to you as well and meet you, and I love your cupboard. I mean, my cupboard's a bit posh now because my sons play the piano. I don't play the piano. I used to have an accordion, but I can't. So it's just there for show, because when they come round, they'll play it, but I can't. I might play a few chords now and again, pretend I know how to play.
Well, it looks really beautiful behind you. Oh, well, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
I hope that whoever's listening uses this, as you were saying, as a tool to advance themselves, to expand their minds, and to, I guess, transcend. You just, like, are such a beautiful story of transcendence. And I thank you so much for sharing your time, your wisdom, your heart. You're incredible. And I just feel so honored to have had you on my show. So thank you.
You're welcome, and you're always welcome to the soulful place that is Bristol.
Girl, don't joke. I will come see
No,
you.
come find me.
She said, come find me. Okay.
Yeah, come find
No,
me.
look, you'll get an email when I'm feeling
You
squirrely,
come,
okay?
you come. You
And
know
I'll be
how good we
like,
are at pushing statues into water.
I can't deal with you. I can't deal with you. Oh my God, no. Bristol's on the list now.
Yeah, definitely.
You've done
Coming this
messed up.
summer.
I just mean you're so cool that like I have to come meet you. You are amazing. You've messed up.
You might find me back on the squash court even once I've got these manky wrists sorted out. I know. Too much gardening.
Okay. What is
Okay.
squash? What is squash?
Squash. Well, you play racquetball, which is a big
Okay.
sport. And I think paddle balls. Squash is like the smaller ball and
Okay.
the smaller headed racket.
Okay.
And you beat the living shit out of the ball against the front wall until it's a very anaerobic activity.
Oh, we just call it wall ball, I think.
Do you call it wall ball?
That's what I call it. That's what I call it.
Yeah. We taught our kid. My husband played squash too, and both our sons played squash from a very early age. Basically, you teach your kids. This is my wisdom as a mother. You teach your kids to do everything that you want to do as an adult, so you can take them with you. And you teach them. You make sure they do the same thing. So you're not going in off. No, you're not doing swimming. If you're going to do football, you both have to do swimming. You can both do football. So we taught them squash. We taught them tennis. We taught them skiing. But they both play piano, and that was just for their own enjoyment. Football, rugby, hockey. But the things that you want to do as an adult, you make sure they're good at it.
All right.
Come on, we're going skiing. Okay, Mum, great. Okay, now they're all better than us. That's the thing. They get to be better than you, and then you sort of like.
That's
And my
okay.
eldest is they're always that's the thing, that's the achievement. My husband said, because he used to play water polo at university, so a swimmer. And the day that our eldest son beat him in the pool, he said, James just beat me. Well, he was like 17 or something. Well, that's what you want, isn't it? You don't want to be better than your kids forever. You want them to be better than you. Hardcore, crestful. Now both kids beat both of us at squash, and we both played Premier Squash. So
That's hilarious.
well done.
Yeah, it's gotta hurt the ego just a little bit at first. Like, but
No,
that's
I'm glad that they're the hours you spend watching hockey, field hockey or squash, and thinking, oh my God, are they going to get injured? And you're moving with every ball. You're thinking, oh no, don't look. It's terrifying.
Yeah, the older you get, like it's all I do risk assessment of everything. I'm like analyzing. Hold on. So I get that.
Definitely.
But
Risk
well,
assessing. Yeah.
now I'm good. Wall ball, squash. I gotta
squash.
get into
Yeah,
some
get fit for
squash.
it.
All right. I'm
And
gonna
wear eye
prepare.
guards. Make sure you wear eye guards.
Okay. Well, okay. I didn't know that. Now I know. But I'm gonna prep. That way I can come kick your ass whenever I meet you. Okay.
I'll be waiting for you.
Because apparently, I mean, you can probably kick my ass if you have the internalness.
I haven't played since 2019. But my cardiologist says he said you just need to go in the gym and do weights. For 80% of your workout needs to be weights, and 20% you don't need to worry about cardiovascular. You're way off the scale. But there's nothing wrong with my muscular weight. But apparently, here's a tip. Apparently, when you get to 75, so I've got a bit of way to go yet, your body starts to digest your muscle mass for food source, which is why you see a lot of old people are, bony, because they start to basically digest their muscle mass unless you keep your muscle mass up with weight bearing exercise. So, and I hate I hate weight bearing no, I just despise being in a gym. And if there's nothing to win, if you're not playing a sport, what's the point? Apart from training for that sport, it's so I'm gonna have to get myself a personal trainer to motivate me to go in the gym, because otherwise I'll find other reasons to get on the bike.
That is so hilarious. Oh my God. Okay. All right, Susie, we gotta go.
Great.
I think we'd stay
Lovely
here
to
all day.
speak to you.
You too.
Have a great life. See you in Bristol. And
You think I'm kidding? I'm
no,
going.
I'm telling you, you come stay.
Okay.
Well, all
Okay.
5 of you, we've probably got enough room.
Well, no. No, I was thinking maybe like a solo trip.
Solo trivia.
Sounds like a lot.
Monica's got to do a recce.
I will say.
It
But
might be dangerous out there, the Wild West of England. They throw statues in rivers. Be careful, I've got to go on my own. And I'll come back and let you know.
oh my gosh. Okay. Oh,
Right, it was
okay.
great to speak to you.
You
Thanks
too.
for tolerating me.
You know, I can't quit laughing. Oh my God. Okay. Have a great day, Susie. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Take
Bye.
care.
You
Bye.
too.